Susan or Noah, are you going to kick us off?
Absolutely. Yep. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Heat Pump Water Heater Manufacturers Roundtable. This roundtable is sponsored and promoted by the CEDA program. I'm Noah Gabriel. I'm a senior project analyst at NBI. And before we dive into this and introduce the panelists, just a few words from my colleague, Susan.
Hi, my name is Susan Harris. I'm a communications manager with New Buildings Institute, and I just like to point out a few things on your dashboard. If you hover towards the lower part of your screen, you'll notice that there are a couple of options that include chat. You can chat at any time to everyone involved in the call. You can also choose to chat people directly. You might need to check to what your setting is at and adjust that as you'd like to chat with people. I'd like to encourage you to put any questions for our roundtable panel participants into the Q&A portion. That allows us to more easily see the questions that you have and make sure that we respond to them. If I notice any background noise, I can mute people and only our panel participants will have their video and audio available to them. Thank you for joining us on Heat Pump Water Heater Day. And with that, I'll hand the mic back to Noah. Oh, and maybe just really quickly, this event is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording.
So first things first, we're going to kick design assistance program and see construction and major renovations. So why participate in CEDA? For a few different reasons. It provides complementary custom decarbonization analysis.
No,
you can also gain
you're kind of cutting out a little bit.
Energy cost paybacks for a project. And perhaps most importantly, for decarbonization and electrification. Any better now?
Maybe try speaking one more time.
Yep. Is it any better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So again, hopefully you all heard that, but just to re-clarify there, decarbonization, energy cost analysis, and financial incentives are the primary benefits of CEDA program participation. Additionally, there's a design incentive of $2,800. We know that design teams can be kind of stretched thin in terms of budget or time. So to enable them to include decarbonization and electrification measures in their project designs, CEDA provides this awesome incentive. And on this slide, we're just showing kind of a quick summary of the incentives. You can take a quick look here, how they're broken down, but we'll also share this after the fact of the presentation, just so you can get a better idea of what the incentives are. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Jeff Glover or Tina Hendricks. Both of their contacts are provided here, and they're happy to answer your questions. And we help you, participate or go for the CEDA program. So with that, we will just have a quick message about AWHI. AWHI is the Advanced Water Heating Initiative. It's an organization comprised, or a market strategy comprised of 100 plus different organizations, and we're all working towards the decarbonization of water heating and the promotion of heat pump water heaters. So today, as you know, is Heat Pump Water Heater Day, so it's an awesome time to post your pictures. My colleague Joe will be putting these links in the chat here, so where you can post pictures for this year's Heat Pump Water Heater Day, which the theme of which is Heat Pump Water Heater Hero. So dressing your heat pump water heater up as a superhero, and you can also go to visit the AWHI site here. And we hope that you will join the initiative if you are interested in heat pump water heaters, or if you're part of the industry. Again, that link will also be put in.
No, please try turning off
work
your
we put
video
out for
camera.
Heat Pump Water Heater Day, you can use these also to celebrate the annual holiday.
Noah, your audio.
Was that me, Susan?
Yeah, your audio is breaking up. So you might try turning off your video feed so that we can, I mean, just for your camera for yourself while you're presenting, and perhaps that will help with that breaking up.
Perfect. Thanks for letting me know.
Sure. And if you would share your screen again, please.
Awesome. Hopefully y'all can hear me better now.
Sounding good.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, just a quick dive into our Heat Pump Water Heater Day agenda. So this is the third live webinar of the day. And if you want to attend anything else, the schedule is all here alongside links. And now we're going to dive into the main component of our event today. So the Heat Pump Water Heater Manufacturers Roundtable. First, I'm going to kick it off with an introduction of why heat pump water heaters, what are the benefits, and why should they be widely adopted, as well as some Energy Star resources. We also have many of the major manufacturers here today who make heat pump water heaters, so they'll be able to give you a rundown on what their products are, as well as the very cool components, and we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. So just a quick few words on the benefits of heat pump water heaters. They offer savings across the US, whether you're converting from a gas water heater to a heat pump water heater or an electric resistance water heater to a heat pump water heater. So as you can see here for gas, nearly every state is projected with savings, and those savings are even better if you're switching from electric resistance, since heat pump water heaters are just saving such a tremendous amount of energy. So heat pump water heaters can slash energy use by 75% or more, and that's the equivalent of 6 solar panels operating for the year. So really awesome savings here, and just makes a huge difference both for reducing emissions as well as saving money and cutting your energy bill. Another awesome thing about going electric is that the grid keeps getting cleaner. So there's been a 36% emissions drop since 2007, and that is projected to just keep getting better and better, and as more wind and solar and other renewables are continually integrated into the US grid. Heat pumps are also awesome for load shifting. So meaning they can, because they have such a large tank, especially compared to electric resistance or gas water heaters, they're able to essentially load up using preheating their tanks and acting like a large thermal battery. So you can use energy when the sun is out or the wind is blowing, when energy is also the cheapest. So you're both saving money and reducing emissions and avoiding these times a day like 4 to 9 when dirty and expensive peaker plants are operating and the grid also costs more to operate. So kind of a win-win for everyone there. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Paul Campbell, who's going to talk about some Energy Star resources.
Hey, thanks so much, Noah, and really appreciate everybody joining us today. This is Heat Pump Water Heater Day, Residential Manufacturers Roundtable style. Hopefully you've all had a chance to participate in some of the previous meetings today. I'm going to say I think the folks at Zoom may not be heat pump water heater fans, because every Zoom meeting I've been on today, it's been a little difficult with bandwidth and other things moving around. So please bear with us, and we'll make this thing work. I'm just going to take a couple minutes and talk about why heat pump water heaters are so important to Energy Star, what our mission is, and then really today in this roundtable is a culmination of that partnership that Energy Star has with all the manufacturing partners that you're going to hear from today, all their great stories and experiences, and the guidance that they continue to give to the industry. Just this week, I was at a Mechanical Services Contractor of America conference, presenting along with some of the manufacturers on this very topic. We continued our series of the California Clean Tech Program training webinars earlier this morning with many of the same resources you have on here today. So there's no lack of opportunity to get out in front of people to talk about heat pump water heaters, what a great energy efficiency story they are. And really, they are ideal for wherever and whoever you are in the application. Yes, there's some considerations, and you hear about that, but really now is the best time to really jump on board this train and get yourself a heat pump water heater too. Next. So Energy Star, real quick, started over 30 years ago. It was right there when the first heat pump water heater was introduced by General Electric in 2009. And today, of the 70 plus products that Energy Star certifies, it represents the single largest savings opportunity across that entire portfolio. So it's no surprise that Energy Star has put all their resources and effort into promoting and marketing this product to increase awareness, education, and ultimately adoption. Why is that important to the homeowner? Well, other than HVAC, water heating is the largest single energy use in your home, and it contributes almost 20% to the average utility bill. So that's a significant number, right? And if you can find ways to save money when you're producing and consuming hot water, it can be significant. And in this case, with heat pump water heaters, when you compare it to standard electric resistant water heaters, depending on where you live, annually, you can save anywhere from $400 to $600. That is a significant number. And that's a number that really catches the attention of every single homeowner. Couple that with the fact that they're not going to take any steps back on performance. You're going to have hot water when you want it, where you want it, and as you need it. When you add the cost, the energy savings and the cost savings in all that, it's a winning combination that really needs to be taken advantage of. Next slide. So Energy Star has been working very hard to put together tools and resources and cultivate partnerships across the industry. I've been part of it for the last 3 years. That's how Energy Star and the Advanced Water Heater Initiative came together, saw the opportunities to combine these great stakeholders and work collaboratively to really move the needle. One of the things Energy Star has done is they put together an installer finder. So out on their website, anyone can go to it, put their zip code in, and what returns is a list of qualified, certified, trained installation contractors for heat pump water heaters. This list is constantly updated and vetted by our manufacturing partners that you see there listed at the bottom of this page. The Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance is also an important partner of ours that continues to share their lists of qualified contractors. This tool is becoming more and more popular. You know, Energy Star has a partnership network of over 1,700 across the country. And a lot of those are utilities and their program implementators. And those resources are reaching out to Energy Star to say, hey, we want to point our customers to your tools and your installation finder. So this is becoming more popular. We're making it more robust. We're going to update it more regularly, because the last thing you want to have is someone to put their zip code in, call a name on that list, and then find out that they don't install heat pump water heaters. That's not the experience we want. So it's really every touch point is so critically important in this process right now, but really excited about having this tool out here. Next. Speaking of touch points across the supply chain, so whether you're a sales associate on a retail floor, you're working behind a service counter in a distribution center, you're a customer service representative in a call center, you can go to the next slide. In a call center, you're going to have the opportunity to promote heat pump water heaters and get your customers excited and interested in the technology. And so Energy Star has put together a series of fact sheets and buying guides. It's the latest and greatest in information. There's calls to action. Where do I go to find more help? Who can I talk to? That's really an important part. You introduce it, but then what do you tell the customer? Where do they go next to learn more, to engage, to research, to ultimately reach out and talk to an installer, talk to a manufacturer? That's really the keys in all of this. And so these sheets are continually updated and provided across the supply chain. Next. Energy Star, it's a marketing machine, right? They constantly are putting together assets and collateral for all of their partners across the country. So heat pump water heaters has its own space within the marketing realm of Energy Star. And one thing that's really exciting is, as we are all aware with the Inflation Reduction Act and all of the incentives that have come through, when you couple that with all the existing incentives that utilities, states, local municipalities are offering today, and you start to layer and bundle those together, any concerns about the cost of these products quickly dissolves, because you can see here from the numbers, you know, lifetime savings with those average numbers I quoted earlier, $5,600. You've got a $2,000 up to $2,000 tax credit. So if you file a tax return, you've purchased one of these products starting January 1st of this year. And it's not just for this year. It's not just for next year. It's not just for 5 years out. It's a 10-year tax credit opportunity for people. And it's every year it renews. So if you've got multiple properties, you can purchase one of these and take advantage of that tax return each year. So this is habit changing, right? This is something that's going to really transform the marketplace with everything we're doing now in the window with the Inflation Reduction Act. So some great selling points here to be able to layer in all these savings on the front end as well as through the operating life of the unit. Next. Energy Star also recognizes they can't do it alone. Manufacturers have been a fantastic partner. AWHI has been a fantastic partner. But we came across this guy through some recommendations of our manufacturers, Matt Reisinger. Maybe you know Matt. He hosts something called The Build Show out on YouTube. He's put hundreds of videos out there, millions of followers. He's a terrific person, relates to everybody and anybody. He historically has talked to the new building construction industry, but we had him put together a video a couple of years ago, which in fact this month he is renewing and reproducing a whole new video for us because so much has changed since he first promoted heat pump water heaters. But in this shot right behind him, there's a chart. And the one piece in this video is that he compares heat pump water heaters to every other technology in the marketplace, including gas tankless, which I know gas tankless is a very popular option across the country these days. But Matt, excuse me, Matt does a great job of defining what it takes to be successful with heat pump water heaters and why it is the de facto choice. Next. All right, so this is my last slide, and it has to do with the Manufacturers Council, right? So about 3 years ago, Energy Star looked across the supply chain and said, you know what, where can we make the biggest impact with the least amount of variability? And we went right to the top of the food chain with the manufacturers. We started with 5. We're up to 11 now, including a few names there that you might not even recognize. So there's new players coming in. Give these manufacturers credit. They've recognized the value. They've learned to work well together, even though they're fierce competitors. They're all out to reach the same end, and they've recognized that by working collaboratively together, they can move that needle that much further. And so bringing you experiences like this, where they're all here to share their stories with you, have you ask them questions, having them all in the same place is really the power of that particular collaboration. We talk about training, we talk about marketing, the highlighted words here on this particular slide. One thing this team has evolved to is they are the de facto for training and expertise for both product and installation of the product. And we get requests weekly from all parts of the country to put on our introductory webinars that then translate into training opportunities too. So you're going to get a little bit of a flavor of that today, but certainly if you're interested in experiencing the more robust version of all this, don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know. Next. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Paul. So now we're just going to give a quick intro on some of these panelists who we're going to hear from today. And Paul, if you want to just go back and forth here, I can start with Ashley. So Ashley Pincott, Ashley is a senior product marketing manager at Rheem, and she leads the residential product marketing team. So we're excited to hear from her today. I can just keep going. Francois is a state business development manager for A.O. Smith, and he helps electric and gas utilities and distributors implement midstream and upstream incentives. Joshua Gonclaves. Josh is a product marketing manager for the Ariston Group here in the US, and he'll be presenting on hybrid heat pump water heaters from American Standard. Scott Wilson. Scott has co-owned Bits Limited for the past 8 years with his partner Eric Kramer. And Bits is a designer, manufacturer, and supplier of energy-saving products to the implementers who manage utility energy-saving projects. Last and certainly not least is Rod Williams. Rod is the executive vice president of EmberTech North America, and he has worked there for 12 years and will be sharing some of EmberTech's Australian experience in transitioning the market to split system heat pump water heaters as part of the greater move to independent electrification. And now I'm going to turn it over to Rheem.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Pincott. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Rheem Manufacturing. I'm thrilled to be here today, so thank you very much for having me. Next slide, please. First, I just wanted to review our technology that's currently on the market in the US. And then I wanted to touch on demand response and what that means. And I think Noah touched on it a little bit earlier when we were talking about the electric grid and shifting energy usage. But I want to discuss that a little bit more and how that's going to be pivotal when we start electrifying all of the buildings and vehicles. Right now on the market, REAM has two versions of a heat pump water heater. We have a hybrid electric heat pump water heater, 20 volt, both 30 and 15 amp models. Both have electric elements. The hybrid, the 30 amp has two 4,500 watt elements. The 30 amp model has two 2,250 watt elements, in addition to a 4,200 BTU compressor. So again, I want to emphasize the hybrid electric heat pump water has both electric elements like a standard electric water heater, as well as the heat pump technology. Last year, we launched a 120 volt, 15 amp plug-in heat pump water heater. This is meant to be an easy gas replacement and requires minimal to no electrical work. This is really important for older homes that have smaller panels like 100 amp panel electric service and are not able to install a 120 volt hybrid heat pump unless they upgrade their panel. So this is a great option for gas replacement. We have two models, a dedicated circuit model with the industry's largest compressor. This 12,000 BTU compressor allows the performance to be similar to a standard gas water heater. Our shared circuit model has the same size compressor as the hybrid electric model. And it also has a hydro-boost mixing valve. You'll see the product on the left, that's the black, the cover, and that mixing valve, extends the hot water, extends the hot water output of the product. Again, the two plug-in models can plug directly into a 120 volt outlet, super convenient. I think one of the sayings we had is plumb, plug in, and go. Both of the heat pump water heaters are drastically reducing demand on the electric grid. 75%, you get that 75% reduction in energy use. And that'll take me to my next point, talking about demand response in the products. Oh, sorry, back one slide. Demand response ready, and the fact that our all of our heat pump water heaters are demand response ready. So taking a step back, demand response. Well, demand response is simply a way for the electric grid to manage demand. So specifically during peak usage hours. Noah, I think you said 4 to 9 p.m. when everybody's home, using all their appliances, demand spikes, it causes stress on the electric grid. California has been specifically susceptible to brownouts, blackouts. And so when we start decarbonizing, which means switching from fossil fuels to electric appliances, as well as to electric cars, there's going to be huge surge and increased demand on it really is an aging electric grid. So demand response programs and homeowners signing up, opting into these programs are a great way to help electric companies or the utilities manage this increased demand. So demand response ready, what does that mean? Well, there's two ways that we can connect to utility programs. One is through an EcoPort communication port, which you'll see it's the box on top of all three of the heat pumps to your left. It's a port where a communication module can be inserted and communicate with the utility. Another means of communicating with utility is through Wi-Fi, and all these products are smart. They have an EcoNet Wi-Fi technology that not only allows communication with utilities, but also gives you control from anywhere of your water heater, including energy usage reports, scheduling. I have on here time of use scheduling, which is very important. as well as any of our premium features like leak guard, leak detection. You'll be able to use the app to control those features. And time of use scheduling, we have made it really easy for contractors to program our heat pump water heaters with local time of use schedules through the REAM contractor app. And you say, why is that important? Well, we touched on, I think, Paul, you started talking about Tech Clean California. Tech Clean California is a contractor incentive program, and it's really to accelerate the adoption of heat pump water heaters. And part of the installation requirements for that program is that the water heater be scheduled for time of use rates. Next slide, please. REAM, I think REAM is unique in the industry in that we have a whole home heat pump solution. Why am I mentioning this? I just, want to go through the fact that water heating is not alone in consuming most of the electricity in the household. We also have space cooling, space heating that makes up a significant portion as well. Water heating, although we've got the significant cumulative electricity demand, water heating is the easiest way or the easiest appliance to reduce electricity usage in the home. So switching from a standard electric to a heat pump water heater reduces your energy usage by up to 75%. So that's significant in itself. And then the fact that, these products also can connect to utility programs, even more useful in reducing electricity demand and carbon emissions. But we also need to think about ways to reduce space heating and cooling. So, space heating by switching from an electric furnace or baseboard to a heat pump can also save and reduce carbon emissions to help us get to net zero. We have an EcoNet thermostat that can control both our heat pump water heaters and our heat pump solution. And you can also control both products through the EcoNet app on your phone. Does anybody have any questions? Are we taking questions? Or are we just
Yeah, there was a great question in the chat that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And someone asked, has there been research on the reliability of these units? So I'm sure you can speak to that, Ashley.
Research on the reliability. So I would need more detail, but we have strict reliability testing before we release any product to the market. So I would just need specifics on what would be the, is there an issue or specific reliability question?
I can.
And no, real quick, this is Paul. So I'll step in and help answer that one too, because I've been so accustomed to hearing all of our manufacturing partners respond to this and other things. So think about heat pumps, right? You may not realize you've got heat pumps all over your home today, including your refrigerator, right? It just works in the opposite way of a heat pump water heater, right? It's pulling warm air out of the inside of your refrigerator in order to cool your food. And so if you put your hand at the bottom of the refrigerator, you feel that warm air coming out. It's just the reverse with a heat pump water heater. And how reliable has refrigerators been in the American home for decades, right? And probably a lot of us have an old refrigerator that's been handed down through generations, and it sits outside in our garage and keeps our soda and beer and ice cream nice and cold. And how many times have you had to call maintenance on that product? Probably not very much. And so there's, part of the answer around reliability is that this technology is not new. It's proven, it's been tested. The application itself in water heating might feel or seem new, but again, that first model came out in 2009, and there's been so much great innovation on these products since then. So overall, reliability is not a concern. Maintainability, there's very little you should need to be doing. I saw a question earlier about maintenance of these products. And besides regularly cleaning the air filter, the air intake filter, just like you would on your HVAC system, there's very little to do maintenance-wise. Granted, all of these products have got great connectivity capabilities that give you alerts, and you can check on the performance and temperature settings. You can set it into vacation mode, all the different ways. So there are so many things you can do to interact with your water heater today that you never had to or wanted to before. So, people generally don't think about their water heaters, but now with all this great technology and the importance of good operation to save money, it's just becoming that much more of a mainstream in the home.
Thanks, Paul, for helping me out on that one. Yeah, and I just to confirm, the warranty on these products are the same as our standard water heaters. So, this come with a 10-year warranty. So, hopefully that answers your question along with Paul's answer. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That, yeah, really appreciate it, Ashley. And with that, I'll turn it over to A.O. Smith.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Francois Lebrosser. I'm a business development manager for the utility sector of A.O. Smith. I represent the A.O. Smith State and American brands in the market. We've been building heat pump water heaters for more than 10 years. Yeah, they're extremely reliable. And I wanted to feature today the new edition, which we launched this summer, which is a 120 volt heat pump water heater. This is the same platform as the Voltex AL 240 volt we launched a year ago. It has all the same features and benefits. The big thing here is that we believe that for states like California to successfully replace their gas water heater by electric heat pump water heaters, the only way that can be done at scale is by making sure that we offer a fully performing 120 volt heat pump water heater, because about 80% of the water heaters are replaced in emergency, and there is no time for any electric work. So we have worked hard to introduce this model. Like I said, it has the same benefits as the 240 volt. It has zero clearance. You can put this along a wall, in a corner. It's easy to duct if needed. You only need 450 cubic feet of space around the water heater. If you have less than this, you put louver door or you duct. It has a top water connection for easy swap out. It's extremely quiet. We've replaced the fan by a blower. So now we're down to 45 dB, which is the sound level of the quietest dishwashers you can buy in America. So if you can live with a quiet dishwasher in your kitchen, you can live with my heat pump water heater. They are 3 to 4x more efficient than the gas water heater that they're designed to replace. And they come with all the bells and whistles of Wi-Fi connectivity and ability to load in the time of use schedule of your utility, which is a requirement of the tech program in California. Next slide. So the big thing is that you got to be thinking. You got to be thinking that when you replace a gas water heater with a 120 volt, 15 amp short circuit, you're in the situation where the recovery is nowhere near. Okay, we are not making as much hot water as a gas water heater. Let's be clear. But what we do is that we offset the fact that we don't recover quickly by the fact that we're going to store much more hot water than your gas water heater. So you can confidently replace a 30-gallon or 40-gallon gas water heater by my 66-gallon 120 volt heat pump water heater, because they have the same first hour rating, which is they deliver the exact same amount of hot water in the first hour. And the way we do this is that you've upsized the tank dramatically, and also we don't give you the option. We will superheat the water inside the tank up to 145 degrees. We have an internal small valve, like a mixing valve, that will take the 145 degree water back to shower temperature based on your set point. So that's how we do this. We we compensate the slower recovery by storing more hot water, like a big battery. Okay, you're familiar with all that concept. We talk about this all the time with electric cars. Conversely, if you want to replace a 50-gallon gas water heater, you go with my 80-gallon 120 volt heat pump water heater. It delivers the exact same amount of hot water. All right. So do I have a third slide? No. Well, here's my third slide. Yep, this is my contact information. Any question you have, any follow-up, take a quick picture of my contact. I'm here to help you. And email me, text me, and that's it for me.
Thanks so much, Francois. I think there was one question. So just clarifying, your 120 volt from A.O. Smith is indeed a hybrid.
My 120 volt is not truly a hybrid because it will work only in heat pump mode. I do have a 900 watt element for the times when the heat pump cannot operate. For example, if the ambient temperature is under 37 degrees.
Perfect. Awesome explanation. Thank you so much. Okay, and then next we're on to Bits Limited.
Hey, thank you, Noah. Scott Wilson here from Bits Limited. We're a new manufacturer in the market. We designed energy-saving products for the utility industry, and we've seen such a huge response to this product that we're designing our own. We should have our units out by Q1 2024. They're going to be demand response ready. Well, 50 and 80 gallon hybrid units and 240 volt, as you can see right there. And that's about it. We're coming in new to the market.
Hey guys, do you guys mind if I share the screen? That way I can kind of breeze through the slides.
Sure, that works fine. Thanks, Joshua.
No problem.
And huge thanks, Scott, for that presentation.
All righty. Can you guys see my screen?
Can indeed.
Awesome. So, as mentioned in the introduction, my name's Josh Gonsalves. I work for Ariston Group. Just wanted to show you guys today the American Standard Water Heaters hybrid heat pump water heater. I'll just go through some key points here. So we do have the 50-gallon, 65, and 80-gallon models available in the market today. We're following up with the 40-gallon by the end of the year. We are fully certified with this product for Energy Star, EcoPort, and AWHI for all of our performance measures. This product's pretty new to the market, came out earlier this year. But like I mentioned, I'm part of Ariston Group. We do heat pump water heating all over the world. And this product is based on 4th generation technology that's over a decade of iterations going into that. So plenty of reliability in the technology itself. We've just brought it over and put it on one of our American Standard Water Heaters tanks. So this product has a 49.1 decibel rating, so under 50 decibels, which is pretty quiet. It is certified for NEA Tier 4. So anytime you have any type of tiered incentive rebate, it's right there at the top. It is fully ready for demand response. So like I mentioned, we got that EcoPort certification. We're also the only, first and only Energy Star connected product listed on the Energy Star website. And then out in California for JA13, for all the big rebates, we actually have specific SKUs out there ready to go. The product does come with leak detection. So you get a leak sensor that you can drop right in the drain pan. And then if there's a leak that gets picked up by that sensor, it's going to notify you via app. And there's also an optional shutoff valve for this product that you can put on the inlet, that if it senses a leak, it'll work together. It'll shut off the incoming water, basically create a vacuum in the tank. So you'll leak a few ounces. And as long as no one opens, a shower or a sink, it'll hold that water in the tank while you get somebody to come and service the unit. It is fully set up to go on Wi-Fi, so you can hook it up to a home Wi-Fi network, and then you can use the Comfort Link mobile app to have full remote control. So you can do things like scheduling, you can get energy reports, diagnostics, and then of course, full control over the modes and set temperature, things like that. So there's 6 working modes on this product, so it's very versatile. You could, use any mode for any scenario. One of the key modes that we have is called iMemory, which is a habit learning algorithm. What I mean by that is if you put it in this mode, it's actually going to watch how the end users use their hot water, when they take showers, how hot they like the water, how much water they use. And it's actually going to create a smart schedule to operate off of after a few weeks of use. And basically what that's going to do is create hot water when you need it, energy savings when you don't. We do offer 10-year warranty on these products. We've used our extra thick, durable steel tanks. Basically, we want the product to last as long as possible. So we use our extra thick tanks, and we also put 2 anode rods in the tank. One is a powered anode rod, which as long as you have power to the unit, that's going to do all the protecting work for the inner tank. The second anode rod is a standard magnesium anode rod. That's really there as belt and suspenders to basically keep the product protected even if you have no power. Let me jump into the next slide here. I'll just kind of breeze through these. We do only sell through wholesale channels, so we don't sell in retail. There's no price competitiveness between our same brand or anything like that. We deal specifically with our valued partners there. Everything that you see for ratings on this product is going to be third-party tested, so we can always provide certificates for all of that. We've also kept serviceability in mind when we go through this, and we have one parts list across all capacities. So whether you're servicing a 50 or an 80, it's the same heating elements, the same sensors, the same control and HMI, everything is the same. You only need, one batch of spare parts, let's say, to be able to service any size. We've also set up a dedicated phone line for technical support. So if you call in, you go right into that heat pump water heater queue, and then you're basically skipping the line, not waiting for someone with a gas or electric or commercial product. We also don't require anyone to handle refrigerant with these products. So if something goes wrong with the compressor, the condenser, or anything that carries refrigerant, it's basically a direct unit swap out. Of course, this doesn't count for the things like the heating element and the sensors, but anything that touches or carries refrigerant is a direct swap out if something were to happen. As mentioned, 700 cubic feet is the standard for requirement of room air in this. If you don't have that, we do have air inlet and outlet ducting adapters, so you can always duct the unit if needed. You can also do 0-inch clearance on the back and left side of the product, which is great. Of course, the right side and the front side needs some room for the unit to be hooked up to the water connections and for the fan to breathe, and then of course to service the product from the front. But you could put it right up into a corner on the back and left side. And then if you do lay it down for transport, you just need it upright for about an hour afterwards so that you can let everything settle. That way no issues occur when you fire it up for the first time. Just a quick note on the app. We do have a full app that's pretty much dedicated to this product. You can, like I mentioned earlier, do things like change the working mode. You can go in and set the temperature. You can also get energy reports, which is great. It'll tell you how much energy you've used and how it was created, whether it was the heat pump or the heating element. And we do also have a boost function in this product. So if you have, whether it's the first time heating up the product so you can, have the fastest heat up there, or if you have someone extra in your home and you're going to have to take an extra shower or two, if you use that boost function, it basically turns on the heat pump and the heating elements, so you have a really fast recovery. And then once you recover that first time, it's going to shut off, and then you can always activate it again. Just a quick note on time of use. We do have an app for that, and it's really easy to use. You basically download the app, jump into it, and you choose your rate plan, or you can create a rate plan. You click on the serial number of the device, and you can basically save it right onto the water heater. Just a couple quick notes. Or a few slides here, but we know that water heaters aren't the most flashy things. A lot of people don't like to show them off. Didn't stop us from trying to create a really attractive looking product. So we kept it very sleek with the white appearance and the gray accents. You do have a full LCD display there. It's very informative, has dozen or so icons that will give you pretty much anything you need to know about the product at any point. And it does have capacitive touch buttons, so no clunky buttons or anything like that. Lastly, we do have plenty of literature that's online. You can go right on our AmericanStandardWaterHeaters.com website, select products, hybrid heat pump water heater, and you can download things like the spec sheet and the manual. And we do have sales brochures available too. If you contact us, we can always get those out to you. And my last slide is just a contact slide. So just showing our full product lineup. Of course, the heat pump water heater front and center. We want to keep pushing that product. We know how important it is to the market and really to the world. But my contact info is right there on the top left, Joshua Gonsalves at ariston.com. My counterpart, who's our national training manager, is Ron Johnson. If you contact either one of us, we can put you guys in touch with the right people, or we can help you out ourselves, get you trained up on our product. And that's it for me. I'll just stop sharing here.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Josh. That was awesome and super exciting to see the wide range of product lineup you have. Just a quick question. From the audience. So is R410A the main refrigerant you're using right now? And is there any plan to think about natural refrigerants like CO2, ammonia, or propane?
I don't remember saying 410. We use R134A in this product. At this point, there is plenty of discussion going on with all the regulations and everything like that about where we go from here. So I would say stay tuned for future product improvements on the refrigerant side.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Great presentation. And with that, I'll take screen share again. We'll move on to Rod from EmberTech.
Thanks, guys. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm Rod. As you can probably tell from the accent, from Australia originally, and we have decided we're a new entrant to the market here with our heat pump water heaters. In fact, we're going through Energy Star and UL as we speak, so I hope that they're done in the next few weeks. And we are a split system company. We're new to this market, but we're not new to doing the heat pump water heaters. We've been doing them in Australia now for several years. And the market down there definitely migrated very quickly to the split system. And it may be because in Australia we use split system air conditioners and we've been using those for decades. So maybe consumers were just more familiar with having condensers on the outside of their house or in the garage. So, you know, we're bringing initially a split system to the USA, and I guess we have both 3 different tank sizes. In fact, next slide, if you don't mind. You know, in Australia, we are actually a vertical company where we do the installs as well, but here we have no intention of doing that. We're going to be finding partners to do that for us. And, you know, we've seen, which I hope happens here, I guess the switch over to heat pump water heaters started as a bit of a trickle, then became a bit bigger a wave, and now it's almost a tidal wave. And our little company in Australia, we're doing 650 to 700 heat pump water heater installations a week. And that's because it's been really embraced. We've got through that tipping point where consumers are telling each other about the savings that they're getting, how easy they are to operate, and you can manage. And we're in Australia, we're very used to time of use tariffs. So, you know, managing the time of use is a key component to keep the electricity costs down. And, you know, we're accustomed to that. And I think that's going to really start to come through here as well, as you start to get really taught during those peak hours with the different rates. And it's interesting, I learned something, Paul, with I think you said 2007 or 2008 was the first Energy Star heat pump in the USA. And I was thinking while waiting for this that I actually put, I must have been one of the early adopters. I put a heat pump water heater on my beach house in Queensland in 2003. And I can tell everyone that's sitting outside the house and it's about 100 meters, 100 yards from the surf. And it's still working and working well. And what's that, 19 years? So in the salt and the environment. So that's, I've got a good example personally when I thought about that today. So yeah, we're coming, we're going through all the certifications now. And once we get Energy Star, we are going to do NEA. And, we're looking forward to it. So next slide, please. Split systems. It is, it's heat pump technology with all the same benefits that all my colleagues and competitors have been talking about. They save money, they reduce the carbon footprint. It's just a very different format, I guess, with the condenser and the tank being able to be separate. Our refrigerant is, we don't need HVAC technicians because our refrigerant is pre-charged. We've got a snap lock system on the hoses that join the tank and the condenser. So that cuts down or makes it a little bit simpler to install, I guess. Our units are demand response and time of use ready because we've had to do that in Australia anyhow. So that's, and we've got the apps, etc., to manage those things. Next. Oh, that's going through, our initial UEFs and COPs facilities. We're CT2045, we're Wi-Fi, we're getting the Energy Star UL as we speak. We superheat, we can go to, we preheat them and set the range at 140 degrees. We can actually go warm if we need to. There's an inbuilt adjustable mixing valve. We have a sealed snap lock system, as I said, on the refrigerant. Blah, 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 10-year limited warranty. That's kind of it. Next page, please. And we are definitely, from our experience of a few years now, and the reason we can do 650 odd units a week at the moment is we're big on contractor training, installer training. We've got manuals, we've got videos, all of those things to really make it a simple process, an easy understand for electricians and plumbers. And I guess for the audience out there, we have, and I'm in the older generation, but we're finding that the contractors that are really getting hands-on with this are probably some of the younger guys who see this rollout of heat pump water heaters as a way to make some money and make it quickly and get their own mortgage paid down. And, the median age of our contractors is less than it would be in a normal market, I think, but that's how it's evolved. So that's just for everyone's knowledge. And it's, we even now organize the recycling of the old tanks for our contractors. And on the way home, if they do 2 in a day, on the way home, they call past the recycling center and get $150 for each tank. So they go home with another $300 in their pocket as well. So, this is a great opportunity for, I think, the whole community, heat pump water heater community, to lower our national footprint, carbon footprint, and kind of do the right thing for climate change, and also for youngsters who are entering into trades to really have a successful career. So I guess the next slide, please. And that's it. And that's our contact, and my colleague over on the New York side, his contacts are there as well, Carl. So thank you. And we're proud and pleased to be a part of this movement. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Rod. Really exciting to hear about all these products coming out, especially moving from Australia to North America. And actually, on that note, there was a great question in the chat. What were the main challenges when you introduced Australian heat pump water heaters to North America in terms of product specifications?
Well, I may be better ask me that question in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Because we're going through all of this at the moment. But, I guess the biggest challenge for us is that in Australia, we're all 240. So all of our 240 products that are shipped to Australia, New Zealand, etc., are all robust, and we've got lots of data and testing. But we also built a 120 volt one for, thinking of California, etc., and other states. So that's the one that we're putting through testing initially, because we figure that that's probably the one that we're going to have to, jump through the hoops a little bit with. So I guess I'll answer that question in a few months' time, see after I know what's happened.
Yeah, well, can't wait to find out. And is the heat pump water heater market quite large in Australia already?
Yes, it's sort of there's probably been about 5 or 6 years where the tidal wave has really started to happen. And, and it's because of the same as the IRA program here, that the government subsidies have made it very easy for consumers to do it. And I hope, because I'm sure everyone online today who saw that the federal government announced from January 1st that your 7,500 electric vehicle subsidy can now be claimed at the point of purchase. I'm sure that's going to accelerate electric car adoption, rather than have to wait to fill in your tax forms and get your rebate, 15, 18 months later. You can now get it when you buy the car. I'm hoping that the federal government and state governments here see that working very successfully and say, let's do the same, and let's get the subsidies on at the point of purchase or the point of install of these heat pump water heaters. And then you will get the real proactive replacement of tanks. People won't be waiting for their old tank to break. They'll say, let's get on board with this. And neighbours will talk, and and then you'll see it really start to move.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree there. Seems like it's removing any red tape definitely can help galvanize the market. So, yeah, thanks again, Rod.
Okay, thank you.
And so, yeah, next we have Sanko 2 Systems.
Thanks. No, my name is John. I'm with tech support here at Eco2, Sanko 2 heat pump water heaters. You want to switch to the next slide for me? So we have been selling a split type heat pump water heater. These are actually manufactured in Japan. The heat pumps are. They use carbon dioxide as their refrigerant. The market for a split type heat pump water heater started in 2001 in Japan and has been running very well since then. Is approximately about 650 to 700,000 split type echo cubes, as we call them in Japan, are being sold. We brought this to the US to match with some different type of tanks than the EcoCute uses back in 2015. So we've been doing these for a long time. So the reliability for us is extremely good. And because the carbon dioxide is not a refrigerant that anyone touches, we only run water to and from the heat pump. We bring it out cold from the tank as it goes into the tank nice and cold, and we send it back out at 145 degrees. So you can see the Sanko 2 product has been running around for a long time here, and we've got great UEFs and first hour ratings for us because our capacity is 15,000 BTUs or 4.5 kilowatts if you look at that. And you can see down there in the cloud at the bottom, the one thing that our system does spectacularly is make hot water. The thing it doesn't do, which it really sort of follows me along, is it doesn't like talking to people. It just does its job, and then when it's finished doing its job, it puts its feet up and hangs out and doesn't draw any power. So we're making it communicative in terms of the fact that it will actually have CTA 2045 and things like that, and we're obviously going to increase our efficiency levels in terms of that. So if we can look at the next slide here. And then, so what we have here is my specific heat pump. It's the same heat pump for all of our systems. It looks somewhat like what we just saw from the Enertech guys, and in there, down to -26, all the way up to 114 and above. We always make you with my CO2 refrigerant, not just because of its low GWP, but it's also its performance level. I will give you 145 or 150 degree hot water, and it's going to be that super warm water allows the tank to play bigger, which we'll see in the next thing. 15 amp breaker, noise level, because it lives outside, you can't hear it anyway if you stand within 1.5 foot of it, because it's only got a noise level of 37 dB, and obviously the 10-year 3-year labor warranty that we throw in there. So Noah's going to throw me to the next slide, which, as I said, we have the tanks, and the tanks get to play bigger because they're going to be full of 145 or 150 degree water. We provide the system with a good old mixing valve to bring that temperature down to 115, 120 degrees for your faucets and your showers, and probably even lower for your shower. And what that does is it makes the 43-gallon tank, which is stainless steel, play like a 50-60 gallon tank. The 83-gallon tank plays like a 100-gallon tank, because every gallon out of it is going to give you 1.25 gallons, 1.5 gallons actually at your faucet. And then last but not least, we have a nice glass lined tank, which is 119 gallons in size and things like that. So not only do we have the sort of 3 settings for the residential world, if we jump to the next slide, what we have always done with this particular style unit is just gone bigger and bigger and bigger. So the idea is that if we can do 1 unit and a 43-gallon tank for a small home, if you say, okay, I've got 30 homes in an apartment building, we can then go a bigger set of tanks and a bigger number of heat pumps, creating that particular style systems. So this is a sort of a genre for us that has been really rolling along since about 2016 with our style products, and we've got multi-family buildings or even restaurants, etc., with these larger tanks that we work with them. So now I can throw us to the next one. I'm here. So here, as you get to see how these units are put in. The heat pump, it can live in the garage. It's one of those nice little sort of setups. Yes, most of the mini split world has the heat pump hanging on a wall or be on the outside of it, but it does provide you with about 12,000 BTUs of cooling. So the great answer for this is, now if you put it in your garage and you live in a nice warm area, this one's the middle photos out of Tallahassee, Florida, what you'll see is the fact that now he's got 12,000 BTUs going on in his cooling going on in his garage. So he loves to go out there and do that. And then the tank being nice and small, stainless steel means it only weighs 90 pounds. It can be put anywhere if you've got the 43-gallon tank. And then as you see the commercial world, 4, 16, however many tanks, however many heat pumps you need to make that setup, because each heat pump will make you roughly 20 gallons an hour of 145, 150 degree hot water to go into that tank. So that's how we get the bigger player for the tank level that we have on those particular systems. That's some nice little setups of our jobs going in over the last 6 or 7 years here in the US, and rolling along as they do that. So now I can throw you to the last slide, which I'll have here, which will be the Eco2 waterheater.com website. Sanko 2 is our brand name on here, and then you've got my direct numbers here as tech support and other tasks around the company, and then obviously my email. So having said that, thank you all for coming on the what is the heat pump water heater day. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. That was awesome, and great to get a look at your products. So a couple questions in the chat, and then so one of them was stacking 416 heat pumps together. So could you just give us a little bit of an insight into how that works with like how do you connect all those different heat pumps together?
Well, if you dive back a slide and sort of show them it in, you can see the because you go back all the way. I just want the last slide before my my setup. What you've created there is a manifold. So what it becomes is a single pipe that runs from this, as you can see it there at the bottom, you've got 3 500-gallon tanks, for argument's sake. I'll take a single pipe out of there, and then it's going to be left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, as it goes to each heat pump, makes the water, and then it comes back in the reverse return world as it's right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and then it just does it that way. So it's a very straightforward setting, as opposed to actually running for 16 sets of half-inch water piping to and from the tank. It's makes it a little simpler for everybody.
Fascinating. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. Well, I think we can turn it over at this point to just general Q&A. Going to look back through some of the questions now, and we can, anyone who wants to step in and answer is more than welcome to. And Joe, do you have any thoughts on questions that popped up here, or I can just ask them now?
Yeah, I think that's great. And if panelists would want to come on to camera, it would be great as well, if you're able to, if you have the bandwidth.
Joe, I'm answering a question right now from Susan. She asked if the 120 volt was a hybrid. And Susan, the answer is no. The 120 volt plug-in models from Rheem do not have electric elements. They only have the heat pump technology on the top and a condensing system with a compressor and evaporator that superheats the refrigerant, and then that heat is then transferred to the water in the tank. The hybrid electric has both that heat pump technology that transfers water in the tank through the refrigerant system, as well as backup electric elements. And they're not necessarily only backup. You can use both at the same time to get increased output. So they are two different products.
And then Ashley, just a follow-on question to that, I think someone asked, so if that's the case, does that limit the operating range of the heat pump in the 120 without the backup if ambient temperatures drop below a certain range?
Yes. So on our spec sheets and also in our brochure for the heat pump plug-in heat pump products, we have a US map, and we've highlighted the states that maintain an ambient air temperature over 37 degrees annually. So this means you can install this in your garage in these zones, and you won't have a problem. Now, there could be a problem if you install, again, there's like a line, I'm just going to say Sun Belt state for reference right now. Above this Sun Belt state region, that you would have issues with performance. So this is where I think I answered that in the chat also. Definitely with all heat pump products, you want to make sure that you're consulting a local professional to make sure that you're sizing and selecting the proper heat pump to meet your family's needs.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ashley. And an interesting kind of tangent question that just popped up. Anyone who wants to jump in can go for this one, but kind of the question of pool heaters, heat pump pool heaters being a market gap. So if any of you are working on heat pump water heater pool heaters and you want to jump in, that's quite a mouthful there. You're welcome to speak to it. I know there was a bit of an answer in the chat there, but I'm also happy to skip over to something else.
I would like to consult with Raypack, one of our Rheem-owned brands that specializes in pool heating. I'm not familiar with all of their technologies, but I would like to ask them and reply back to this group. I mean, I think that that's an interesting question to see all the different types of heat pumps that are out there.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, and Noah, I'll just add, I can attest that in the state of Florida, and I think Francois would probably agree with this, is that you've got heat pump pool heaters installed all over that state.
No, I don't sell those, but I guess you're right.
Yeah, I've seen them for myself. They're definitely out there in mass.
Cool. And another question that's kind of popped up repeatedly throughout in both Q&A and the chat is, how do you deal with cold weather? So are you recommending a certain product type in cold weather climates? What happens, for example, when temperatures fall to 40 degrees Fahrenheit?
So it's in cold weather, it's a good idea to size up one level. All right. So if you're replacing a 50-gallon gas or electric, it's a good idea to go to the next level, like up to 66 gallon. It's a good idea to put a mixing valve so that you superheat the temperature of the water. And I will note that our 120 volt heat pump water heaters, we allow them for sale everywhere, including in northern climates. We do have a 900 watt element that gets in operation when the ambient temperature is below 37 degrees. That's for Aerosmith.
I'll piggyback off that and say for American Standard water heaters, we're in a similar boat. Our product's 240 volt, right? So we got 4,500 watt backup heating elements. The heat pump group will work down to about 36 degrees Fahrenheit for ambient temperature. Anything below that, or when we talk cold climates, it kind of gets overlooked, but the groundwater temperature, right? If the groundwater temperature is also really cold, I forget what the cutoff is. I want to say about 50 degrees. The product's going to work exclusively as an electric water heater. So you're if you're in a really cold climate, somewhere where it's really, really cold in the units in the garage, let's say, that those winter months, you're probably going to operate as a standard electric. Then you'll kick back into heat pump as soon as the spring hits.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great information to have because I think it's something the broader market can be a little bit concerned about. But I think with these answers, right, and with best practices, it can definitely help avert some of that fear.
I'm just going to mention one thing. I mean, this is why the 240 volt hybrid electric heat pump is the best option if you're available to switch to it. So these products are usually replacements for standard electric water heaters where you already have the hardwired service. So this should always be the go-to option in that scenario. And then if you're able to, upgrade your panel when you're switching from gas, we still suggest this product. There are incentives through the Inflation Reduction Act for panel upgrades. I think it's up to $600, Paul. I don't know if you have that at the top of mind, but you can get an additional $600 for your panel upgrade. Yes. But for certain regions, the 120 plug-in, I mean, it's just so easy. You just plumb it and plug it in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to make reference, Kathy put a scenario in the Q&A about a previous install that prematurely failed after a couple of years, and Ream was right on the spot to assess technically the situation, and what they discovered is that likely a contributor to the failure was the way it was installed originally, and the fact that the inlets and outlets were flat up against walls. It was choking the airflow per se, and so that just really stresses the point for all of our manufacturing partners. They emphasize this in every conversation, and that's to consult with the installation manuals, make sure that you're working with a well-qualified and trained installer. Even though we stress how reliable performance is of these products, there are considerations, right, that you have to keep in mind. Airflow does matter for sure, and clearances for access to be able to clean that air filter. That's not something that people have thought about with a water heater in the past. They've thought about it with their HVAC, so it's not we're not asking them to do something completely different, but there are some nuances that have to be taken into consideration. So there is a difference between an installation and a quality installation, right? And so that's why the manufacturers work so hard with their installation contractors to make sure that they're well trained and knowledgeable. And there are some nuances from one brand to the other as well. And so that's why it's important as installation contractors that they seek out and make sure that they're well trained. And the manufacturers are ready and willing. They have put together tremendous technical staffs and training resources to be there to help. They want to help. They want to make sure that at the end of the day, it's a positive experience for everyone involved. And it certainly can be, but there are considerations to keep in mind.
Yeah, we're finding that we do need to, you know, we've got the room air volume requirements on our spec sheets, but most water heaters are being replaced in a small closet. And so you just don't think about having a air volume requirement around a water heater in some installation, you know, replacement scenarios. So yeah, it's really about education. Like, you know, this is a relatively new technology. It's 10 years old, but like it's a, you know, people aren't familiar with it. So we've got a lot of work to do with educating both homeowners and contractors.
Definitely. I think that's an excellent point. The education factor is so crucial. I think that's a big part of a heat pump water heater day as a whole today, right? Is kind of raising awareness of just one, these products exist, you know, what the whole breadth and ranges of availability through all you manufacturers that presented today, which just so awesome to get this kind of information out there.
I did see a question on noise. I was going to just ask real quickly. Somebody was asking whether Rheem had fixed their noise issues, but I wanted to open up to all manufacturers on what the current decibel ratings are for noise for their heat pump water heaters.
I think the general market is 50 decibels and below. AO's got what, 45, Francois.
Yep.
So they're all really quiet. I mean, if you got a dishwasher in your home, it's no louder than that. So if you put this in a garage, you're not going to hear it. If it's in, you know, up here in the Northeast, I'm in, you know, next to Boston, and most of them are in the basement. You're not going to hear that unless you're, you know, standing in that room, realistically.
Yeah, it was a barrier to mass adoption. The manufacturers have been working hard to eliminate it.
Yeah, it's probably one of the reasons in Australia we do a lot of split systems because the condenser's typically on the outside wall or in the garage. So the noise isn't a factor, even though I think we're at 43 decibels, maybe 44. So it's not a big deal for us.
Yeah. I had a question for the panel. You know, one thing that constantly comes up is the significant gap in workforce development, qualified installers, electricians, such. I think there was a statistic in the plumbing industry that said for every one new plumber coming into the marketplace, there are 4 retiring. And so, you know, how are your companies addressing that gap right now? What are you thinking about when you think about attracting that next generation of trades into the industry to support these products?
I might not be getting all of this right. We've got a great training team. They're great people. We're working on a continuing education learning portal where we're trying to pretty sure that they're modularizing all the trainings, and the goal is to have a Rheem certification. So you're actually being certified and hoping that it'll be recognized. So I can get more details on that, but it's to attract people to, you know, they're getting, not only are they attending this training, which taking out time out of their day, right? Instead of installing water heaters, you know, they're coming to the training, but we're hoping that by creating you know, more of like a kind of like university program, that it will attract new tradesmen as well. I think it's actually launching in a couple months, so I'll get you more detail on that.
I also think there's some pressure has to be going. I know you talked about it, Paul, at the Energy Star meeting, that there's got to be some, I guess, national pressure, incentive, whatever you'd like to call it, to get kids going into the trades again, and lowering trade time maybe rather than, let's say, 3 years to become a sparky, become an electrician. Get it done in 2 years so that they can see a pay packet coming fast without student debt. And, you know, trades are going to be attractive in this energy transition. And we've got to get the youngsters to understand that they can get a well-paid job without getting a lot of student debt. And we've seen that in Australia. And even though we only have a half a dozen states compared to 50, one of the problems we had down there was that if you qualified as an electrician in Queensland, it didn't necessarily transfer to Victoria, one of the other states. And I know that's the case here in the US system, that some of the trade qualifications don't go across states. You know, that's crazy. You know, there's got to be pressure to get those things uniform so that kids can move to where the work is. Just a political statement.
Yeah,
So I think we're,
manufacturers have tons of training resources. At AO Smith, we have all this in our university websites. And I think the big deal is the contractors, the installers need to feel that there's a demand out there for the product to really listen and want to be trained. So that's why we value the partnership of in particular, utilities who will offer incentives at the point of sale, not the mailing rebate that does very little to create demand, but actually directly to our distributors and contractors.
Yeah, great point, Francois.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So I think we're looking to wrap up here soon, but one last question. So today we've been comparing heat pump water heaters to electric resistance and to gas water heaters. Is there any comparison you would make between that and a standard solar water heater?
I think I tried to answer that question, and I asked, what specifically are they looking for? The annual operating cost comparison?
I think that
or
would be a good
performance?
place to start. Yeah, I think operating cost, kind of, you know, climate benefits, decarbonization benefits kind of deal.
I do not have that comparison, but I'm happy to work with our engineers to get it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think just generally speaking, you know, having a comparison across the board, you know, in table form always is helpful. But I think for the broad market in terms of decarbonization, I think what we're focusing on here today, right, like getting away from gas and then getting more efficient, moving away from electric resistance is definitely the end goal. So yeah.
And wouldn't manufacturers say on the solar angle? I mean, Energy Star's numbers last year, there were 10,000 solar water heaters and versus 140,000 heat pump water heaters. So it's more of a niche market, and it also needs a backup. Any comments on whether these two technologies should be, you know, are they competing for the same households? Are they different households? You know, solar water heating versus heat pump water heating. Francois, I'm looking at you in particular.
I don't have a particular point of view other than saying that with the prevalence of solar panels around the nation, the combination of PV solar and heat pump water makes a lot of sense.
Basically a build your own solar heat pump water heater, right? If it's if you're directly using all of that, it makes it even more efficient if you're able to channel your own solar into a battery.
It's free water heater. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, with that, yeah, I think we are nearing time. So really appreciate everyone for presenting today. Got a ton of valuable information, and it sounds like there'll be some follow-up answers as well to some of the questions that were in the chat. And this meeting was being recorded, so that will also be hosted shortly for, you know, if you want to share the information you found here, that should be easy to do within, I'm not, Joe or Susan, if you want to jump in on the timeline of when it will be available, that would be awesome.
I'll have that link available by the end of today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for coming on. And
Thanks,
happy Heat
guys.
Pump Water
Thank
Heater
you.
Day.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Heat Pump Water Heater Day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.